Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is regarding the unfortunate murder of Jocelyn Nungaray, a 12-year-old girl in North Houston. She snuck out of her apartment complex while chatting on her cell phone and went to a 7-Eleven. Apparently she was talking to her boyfriend. She went to the 7-Eleven and she was found murdered the next day by strangulation. Now, there is surveillance footage of the suspects in the case, and apparently they've just been detained. But first, let me play the press conference. It's a little portion of it, not the whole thing, and also a news clip.
All right, hello. We're here to share some very horrible news. Someone has taken one of our innocent children from us today. A 12-year-old little girl. Found her this morning. And we believe somebody did this horrible thing to her, and we are here to ask for your help.
For being here this evening, I'm Lieutenant Hope with the Houston Police Department's Homicide Division. I'm here to talk to you about an incident that happened around 6 a.m. this morning. Citizen called 911 regarding a body seen in the shallow water of the bayou near 400 West Rankin Road in Houston's North Belt area. Houston's Homicide Division, along with the assistance of the Houston Department's dive team and the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office, were able to recover that body out of the shallow water there. Harris County's Medical Examiner's Office is completing an official identification of the victim, but we do have reason to believe that it's going to be a 12-year-old female that was snuck out of her residence late last night and eventually ended up in that waterway at 400 West Rankin Road. We're investigating the circumstances surrounding her leaving that residence and ending up being discovered there deceased. There is surveillance video, and the detectives are working diligently to follow up on the leads that they do have currently, but we are asking that anyone with any knowledge of this incident or any information surrounding this incident, please call and help our investigators find the perpetrator of this incident. They can contact the Houston Police Department's Homicide Division at 713-308-3600, or they can call anonymously to the Houston Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS, 713-222-8477.
She's so young.
Her mother, Alexis, couldn't hold back tears, telling our Corley Peel she hopes someone will recognize these persons of interest police have identified.
I want them to face everything they put her through and more and worse.
This is Jocelyn with one of the men police want to talk to. Her mother doesn't recognize him. The image captured outside this 7-Eleven off Rankin Road around 12:15 a.m. Monday. Police say she snuck out of her apartment sometime after 10 Sunday night.
Unfortunately, her making this decision has costed her her life.
Her mom didn't realize until the next morning when she tracked her phone to this creek just a short walk from home.
I really think she meant to come home.
Someone had already called 911 after driving by and spotting her in this creek around 6 a.m. Monday. First responders surrounded the scene. The HPD dive team recovered her body. Investigators say she died due to strangulation. Houston's mayor has been outspoken on the case.
We should not have to worry about 12-year-olds being raped and murdered in the city of Houston. Horrible.
Jocelyn's family remembers her as loving and goofy. They call her a fighter and won't forget her big smile or love for animals. They want whoever cut her life short caught.
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Nobody deserves to lose a child. No one deserves to bury their child.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's horrendous when a parent has to bury their child. You know, it actually makes me think a little bit of the Sebastian Rogers case a little bit. I mean, this girl snuck out of the house, and the mother didn't notice till 6 in the morning that she was missing. Could that have been something he did and something similar happened to him by some unknown person out there? I guess someday we hopefully will find out what the answer is in that case as well. So let's take a look at Google Earth right here. So this is the area in North Houston, right here at this 7-Eleven, and here is Rankin Road, and there's a bayou that goes underneath, and her body was found in there. Now, on the show last night, I worked through all the different locations of the surveillance footage. it's really just more like not footage, it's still frames. So let's take a look at those right now. So here is Jocelyn, and there's this individual with a pink shirt, and the baseball hat is white, and then there's, I believe, blue in the front. And take a look at that. That's at the front door. This actually is him following her out of the building because the front door is over to the left. And I'll just show you. See the top of this where there's this square box? That turns out to be a cooler, like a ice machine or whatever you want to call it right there. Look at so if you zoom in, you can see there's a square part on the top and then the ice machine right here, or I guess ice container. So they're walking like this towards the camera. And there's that image. There's also this one. It appears that she's more alone at this point. I know exactly where that is. And here she is right here. So it appears that that other individual took off just before she turned around the corner. So if we take a look in the air here, it looks like she walks this way and then turns, and there's a camera. There's a camera right here, and there's a camera right there. I'll show you. If we go down to Street View and I zoom in, you can actually see the camera. There's one right there, and there's one right there. And I believe this container here likely isn't still there. This image was from 2022. So a camera right up here films her walking around by these poles right there. And if we go back up, I think that's these poles. And again, this area right here is actually after that last shot. And see how the grass ends and then it curves off to the right? That is going to be right up here. So she comes around the building and then goes just like this and is filmed on that same camera that we just showed, walking around in this direction. We don't know if she turned right, but she goes in that direction. That person that was following her passed her, like he was standing right there, so he didn't go with her around like this, but maybe they watched her to see what she was going to go do. And she walked, and then I think she went across this bridge here, and I don't know where she lives, but I'm guessing these apartment complexes right here. One of these, there's multiple areas here where she lived, and perhaps she came around like this and they attacked her, and then they put her body into the bayou here. And maybe that's why she was seen in the water. A car drove by and her body was down in there. I'm just speculating on that, but there's this wooded area here that seems like it'd be good coverage for predators like that. All right, there's also an area over here that's a storage facility, but it's all fenced in, and that just doesn't really make sense to me. So I think it probably likely the assault took place over in this area, and then she was found there. We'll probably find out the answer to that in the future. And also to prove that this is the correct 7-Eleven, if we go down to Street View here, and here's the 7-Eleven. So you see the 7-Eleven in that building that we were just looking at, and there's the building back there. So just proving all the elements of the case. This is the 7-Eleven. She did walk around like that, and eventually I think she probably tried to walk home and go this direction, and they attacked her likely when she was right over here, I would think, and then put her into the water. They actually released images of 2 suspects. Now if you look at this guy, it looks like he has a tattoo on his left forearm. See how it's miscolored there? And there's an individual right here. He's the guy with the white hat, and Bill, and they have these guys on camera. What's interesting, the shots of Jocelyn do not have the guy in the black shirt in those images. All right, now apparently they have arrested or detained 2 people of interest, which are these 2 people right here. So likely they've caught the killers. So let's play this.
Following 2 persons of interest in the death of a 12-year-old girl found strangled to death in a creek in North Houston. have been detained.
Yeah, this all evolving within the past 30 minutes. Our Rochelle Turner at the scene. Rochelle, bring us up to speed. What can you tell us what's happening out there right now?
Brittany, good morning. For the past 30 minutes, Houston police have been going in and out of a building. This is the Canfield Lakes Apartments here in North Houston. Now, this is all connected to that 12-year-old girl. Her name is Jocelyn. She was...
Hey, let's go to the Canfield Lakes apartment. Let's see. Canfield. There it is. Hadn't heard that yet. Ah. So, look at this. They live right here in that exact area that I was talking about. On my channel, I'd say, hey, can I get a boom? So there you go. The Canfield Lakes Apartments. Interesting. Okay, we'll add that to it. So that's interesting. I wonder if they're from the same apartment complex she is, and they followed her all the way to the 7-Eleven. Man, that's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Didn't see that.
Was found dead in a creek earlier this week. I want you guys to take a look at this exclusive video of those two men who are considered persons of interest and seen in surveillance photos shortly after she was killed.
Oh, isn't that interesting? He shaved. Look at this. Look at that right there. He's got a beard on. It appears to be a beard anyways. Could just be the way his... Well, let's take a look at one of the other shots. Actually, the one where he's... Maybe he doesn't have a beard. Let's see. Kind of looked like he had one there. But here, I mean, it does, yeah, it does look like he's got a beard on in that shot, right? So obviously, in this image, he's shaven. Let's go back a little bit. Look at that. He probably saw his image on the surveillance footage and then shaved.
Of those two men who are considered persons of interest and seen in surveillance photos shortly after she was killed. KPRC2 photojournalist Roger Franco and I were the...
And here's the other guy right here. All right. Now look how, without the baseball hat on, he looks like obviously a totally different person. That's why baseball caps are used for disguises so often.
The only ones present at these apartments in North Houston when both men were placed in handcuffs and put in the back of police cars. Now,
but I was able to notice that he does have the tattoo on his left arm. And see it right there? Same spot, everything. The tattoo right there. And it's interesting because the police are even looking right at it. They know that they got the right guy.
Now, that little girl was found earlier this week on West Rankin Road. Police believe she snuck out of her apartment sometime after 10 o'clock Sunday night. Her mom didn't realize it until the next morning when she tracked her phone to the creek. Someone called 911 after driving by and spotting her around 6 o'clock that morning. First responders and HPD recovered her body from the scene. HPD said that she died of strangulation, and this is something that we've been seeing Mayor John Whitmire speak about at city council meetings. He said it's terrible and we shouldn't have to worry about a 12-year-old girl being murdered. Now, we know that Jocelyn was a student at Spring ISD. The school released a statement earlier this week offering their condolences. And of course, we've been hearing from her mother all week. We heard from her yesterday for the first time. She was heartbroken and said it's going to be tough having to lay her 12-year-old daughter to rest. It's just unimaginable news for any parent. Now, as for what's next in the case, those two men will be taken to HPD headquarters where they will be questioned. Now, we are being told that a press conference could happen later this afternoon, and of course, we'll be able to learn more information about this case. And as soon as we learn information, we'll be sure to keep you guys updated on air and online at clicktohouston.com.
Good reporting there by clicktohouston.com, KPRC2. Man, what a absolutely disturbing case. And I really hope this doesn't turn out to be another, illegal border crossing event. We don't know at this point, but this sort of fits the pattern that we've seen lately. I mean, a 12-year-old girl here. There's another case in New York where, I think it was New York, where a 13-year-old girl and her boyfriend were tied up, and the individual assaulted the girl, and they lived in that case. But they finally made an arrest of that person, and he wasn't from, he was an illegal alien as well. So I'm hoping that isn't the case here, but we shall see. So there's going to be a press conference later, and we'll take a look at that. Apparently, and make no mistake about it, they caught the 2 people that were in the surveillance footage. So they believe those 2 people are the killers, and they are going to end up being arrested for the murder of Jocelyn Nungaray. Especially when you consider they live over here, and that's likely where she was heading to. So it really is what makes sense. Is it possible at this point? Sure. But I think in all likeliness, it's going to be them. So again, she leaves her home at like 10 o'clock at night to go to the 7-Eleven. She has her cell phone talking to a boyfriend, and she goes over here, and then we've seen on surveillance footage where one of the suspects follows her into the store, and here's one of the shots. This is when they're actually leaving the store. If we go back a couple, this is the area right here where she was found. Okay, this is when she's going into the store. So he obviously was right with her when she's going into the store. And then he's with her when she leaves the store, because we see where that ice box is. Then she's walking around, and she's near some sort of that grassway that we were talking about, which is right over here. And she's walking in that direction, which is generally back towards her house, right? She just walks this way and around, and then she's going to make her way down to the street here. And when I say house, I mean apartment, going over the Rankin Road overpass. And then I think she likely head down in this direction, maybe just cut across right there even, and was attacked and maybe even assaulted in these trees here. And then her body was placed in the water right there. And the next morning she was found. And she was strangled to death by likely the 2 individuals that were just arrested in the Canfield Lakes apartments. Okay, so I appreciate everybody watching the video today. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think they got the right guys? I do. Do you think it's going to turn out to be more border issues related to this case? This is Texas, a border state. It's very possible that could be an issue here, but it might not be as well. And just a heartbreaking case for the mother and her siblings and all her family members. I always think it's weird when people say, oh, I feel sorry for the family members, but they forget to mention the victim who had to suffer through such a horrendous death. And you know that there is likely going to be an assault related, and I would think that they're going to be able to take the DNA out and compare the DNA directly to one of the victims or both victims. So again, thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment, like the video if you would, and if you want to subscribe, that'd be great. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.